All right, I guess I'm recording. All right, so let's talk about suicide prevention and intervention. So, warning signs of suicide: if you hear a client threatening or talking about it, even if they're kidding. Looking for ways to do it by asking about access to means. Hey, we got any ropes around here anywhere? You know, can I have some extra bed sheets? Talking or writing about death in general, seeming hopeless when they're normally not like that, or I guess even if they are. Rage, uncontrolled anger, revenge seeking, reckless behavior, risky behaviors, talking and feeling as if there's no way out, like they're trapped. Of course, an increase in substance abuse, like if somebody relapses on past or something when they've done really well. Withdrawing when they normally don't. Seeming anxious, agitated, sleeping a lot or not sleeping at all. Dramatic mood changes, seeming to have no purpose in life. Now, the more of these behaviors and things that you see in a person, the more concerned you should be. One or two of those, somebody using on past, we shouldn't all be freaked out that they're going to commit suicide. But if you combine that with a bunch of other things, again, the more concerned you should be. What do you do if you see some of this stuff?
Report.
You ask. Hey, you're not yourself lately. Have you been having thoughts of hurting yourself? You just ask them. And if they say yes, then we sort of go down to the line of reporting it and doing something about it, if we think they're actually going to go through with it. So how do you assess for suicide? You look at their risk factors. Okay, do they have a history of suicide or self-harm? Do they have a history of a psychiatric condition? Were they abused in childhood? Are they a really impulsive or emotionally dramatic person? Are they a minority sexual population? Do they suffer from chronic pain? Do they have a family history of suicide? Has there been a recent major stressor that led to humiliation, shame, or despair? Access to firearms, a change in their treatment, substance abusers. All of those people are your high-risk category people for suicide, more so than the average population. If they have some risk factors, you want to look at their protective factors. How well do they cope with stress? Do they have religious beliefs that would help them? Do they handle frustration fairly well? One of the main things I hear in my office from why people wouldn't kill themselves is their religious beliefs. I don't want to go to hell, so I wouldn't do it. That's probably the number one thing I hear in my office. You want to look at external protective factors. Who's their responsibility to their kids, their pets, their family, their social support, their job, how long have they been sober? Those are other reasons that people, the second number one reason, I guess that'd be the number two reason, not the second number one reason. Sometimes I crack myself up. Would be their kids. I don't leave my kids. So the first thing I hear is, well, I don't want to go to hell, because I was always taught that if you kill yourself, you go to hell. The second reason I hear is, well, I don't want to leave my kids, do that to my kids. So you want to identify their protective factors. Third thing is do a suicide inquiry. This is the stuff that we were talking about earlier, stuff, Josh, that you mentioned. So you want to look at their ideation. Okay, yeah, I've been thinking about suicide. Okay, well, how often do you think about it? Well, I think about it all the time. Or, I think about it every once in a while. What about in the last 24 hours? What's the worst it's ever been? Have you ever come close to killing yourself before? When was that? What was going on then? You know what I mean? If the closest they ever came was, I don't know, something minor, you can relax a little bit, not completely, but a little bit. But if they're like, oh yeah, I've tried it before several times, then you want to be like, oh shit, here we go. Mm-hmm. All right, so their ideation. The second thing is if they have a plan, just like my example from a while ago. If you don't have access to your plan, you can breathe a little easier. If you do have your plan ready and available, oh shit, here we go. All right, so look at their behaviors. Again, that includes past attempts, rehearsals, their intent. A lot of people think about it. A lot of people know how they would do it, have access to how they would do it, but they don't intend to. Yeah, I think about killing myself. I'd probably just shoot myself in the head with a gun. I mean, I have a gun. We keep one in the house. I know where to get one, but I would never do that. I've thought about it. I know how I would do it, but I wouldn't do it. I don't want to go to hell. My kids need me. but I thought about it, yeah. I'm probably not gonna be super concerned, but the more checks you have, I always tell clients, if I don't think you're gonna make it back to your next appointment, I'm gonna call somebody. This is a safe space for you to tell me that you think about suicide, because you can't really say that to a whole lot of other people without them freaking out. This is a safe place for us to talk about it. I'm not gonna worry, and my thing that I tell them is not if you've thought about it, think about it, almost tried it 5 years ago. I'm like, if I don't think you're gonna make it back to your next appointment, I'm probably gonna call somebody. Does that make sense? So it's okay, but it's the intent really that you want to be on the lookout for. So you want to determine the risk. Based on all those factors, what are the chances that they're going to kill themselves, low, medium, or high? You want to document, because that covers our ass. All right? Document how you came to the conclusion that you didn't call somebody. Document how you came to the conclusion that you did call somebody based on the things that I'm telling you about right now. Well, their ideation was this, their plan was this, their behaviors were this, their intent was this. You document all of that. There's not a form to document that on, but you can call me and I'll help you write it. I'll help you document it well, or Candace can, or Suzanne can.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you if we had a suicide assessment.
No, not that I know of. Not a form to use, no. And even on their treatment plans, you know, we have them do, I mean, you know, we kind of include that a little bit. Anybody with a history of self-harm now, we have to put that on there.
We've got one now that's currently,
And that's what we're using on that objective, because they started making me
Yes.
add that to their treatment plans. If they
Mhm.
have a history of self-harm, I have to, you know, or harm to others, I have to include that on there. So it kinda.
Okay.
Alright, so we're good on all that, the suicide stuff. How many of y'all have run into a suicidal person?